Hey yo, what a div, y'all. Let's get right into it. So, I want to talk to y'all today about this league mechanic. Not really the whole league mechanic, though, just the rune system. Because the character you're seeing in the background, the Stormcall character, I burned myself out for a little while farming to make this character happen because of fucking power runes. Just straight up, power runes are the thing that burned me out temporarily. There's also the fact that there's other game things going on in the universe, or the fact that BPL is coming up this weekend, and I wanted to make sure that I was ready to go hard for 65 plus hours in the event. But the main thing that really drove me up a wall was how much money it took me to get the character started, at least playing the game, because I try my damnedest to not just make money in PoE the way that I always do. Like in the past, before I even considered doing content creation, and before I just stopped taking PoE as seriously as I used to do, I used to just trade and craft for all of my money while still knowing how to play the game, because trading and crafting were just so efficient, and gambling to make money is just so efficient. But that's not really relatable. And if I told you guys, yeah, just go gamble, you would look at me crazy. But needing to farm 65 to 80 div, which I've heard the prices have gone up. I believe the last I heard, I haven't checked personally, I last heard they were up to 8 div a piece for power runes. 8 divines a piece for power runes is insane. And it's prompted me to make this video because I need to make this a discussion topic that exists out there, because I've been saying it for years in private circles. It's time to put this take online. GGG needs to stop making the cool thing associated with a league mechanic turbo ass to get your hands on, especially when you have to factor in how cool the thing is. And I feel like they've been failing to do that time after time after time. Now, before I get all the way into it, because I have some extended thoughts about this, if you find this video helpful, insightful, interesting, etc., you just want to extend this discussion, comment, leave your thoughts down below, subscribe, turn notifications on, all that good stuff. Now, back to this idea of the cool thing. What was the selling point of this league, guys? Really think for a second. Did anybody see this league and go, oh man, the selling point of 3.25 is the Clash of Clans system that we have put in the game? No, not even almost a little bit. In fact, it was a lot of preemptive concern around that, because we were all like, ooh, I have no idea how real-time systems are going to function in the game. And it's got some pros and it's got some cons, but that's not really the point right now. We all looked at this league and said, holy shit, there are some uniques to play with for builds. There are some runes to craft using onto our weapons and make some cool shit happen. Then the data mine for the list came through and everybody was super, super hyped up to see everything that's in there. And then we get in game. And you find out that the crap that you want takes a couple power runes. 13 to 15 for a lot of the really cool ones, right? And then you look at the price of power runes. And at the beginning of the league, if you were, smart about it, you would have sniped them up when they were 2 to 3 div a piece. Boy, have they changed in price since then, right? And that's the thing. The cool thing has now priced everybody out of doing it. You're seeing these insanely cool Vol Lightning Strike Slayers, or maybe you're looking at my Vol Stormcall Ascendant that I'm working on. Maybe you've seen some characters using the Haunted Spirits mod on wands. Maybe you wanted to do point blank on your instacking Wander, or my bad, not point blank, Far Shot. Maybe you wanted to do the returning prods and the two-handed swords. Maybe you just wanted the percentage elemental damage two-handed sword mod, right? All of these modifiers that are so cool, so interesting to play around with, that open up possibilities for us as build creators and players, and just generally spike interest. And they're out of reach. That sucks. And it's not that it's out of reach for me. Obviously, it's not out of reach for me. I have the dagger on in the character you're seeing. But not everybody is, willing and able to farm 70, 80, 90 divines, sit on it, spend another 50 divines or so. Hopefully not that much. That's on the high end for a lot of these things. To put it on a weapon, get a weapon that's worth putting on. Put together a weapon that is worth several builds. Hear me. Several builds. You can make several characters. I'm really emphasizing this point that for the cost of several characters, you earn the ability to play one character. And you haven't even bought the rest of the gear for that character. Your character's going to end up looking like my goddamn Hex Blaster. I've got this fun, expensive ass belt on, and the rest of my gear, yeah, it's not that special because I didn't really need it to be. The mage build was just the cool part, right? Like, you spend so much money getting this dagger made or that wand made, the mace, the two-headed sword, etc. And for what? Not to mention that, Surly's masterwork seemed like a really cool idea when I saw the mace, and I was like, there's some cool things you can do with it. It's too damn bad that the runes that I want to put on it are far too expensive. I am not about to spend that amount of money, that amount of time invested into a weapon that dog shit. And I feel like I'm not alone in that sentiment. Or maybe I'll put it better. Maybe it's not dog shit. Maybe it is actually insane. I'm not about to put the money and time to gamble and find out. And I think you agree with me on that as well. And I'm talking money and time in terms of trade. If you're an SSF, this is the nightmare situation. You've probably been grinding for who knows how fucking long to finally get enough power runes for one cool runecraft. Maybe two, if you're lucky, right? This is the problem. Releasing cool things and then putting them behind wall of unobtainium is really pointing to a problem that I've been having for a while. And I hate to say it this way because I actually love the fact that PoE incorporates trade so aggressively into the game and has it as a part of the game that you get to talk about and optimize and strategize around because it is another layer to the game. But this is another fantastic example of a time where the focus on trade and having trade be the centerpiece of the game is fucking up the experience of the game. Just straight up. Because the only thing that feels worse than there being nothing new to do is to see that there is new shit to do and you can't do it. To see that there is new shit to do and you won't get to touch it. That's the problem. We did this last league with, the insane amount of friction behind creating the ridiculous items. Again, the power level is really high. It's not like I'm saying these are weak. They're really cool. That's why everybody wants to do it. But nobody wanted to spend 3 hours shopping for corpses. And if you're SSF, nobody wanted to spend the amount of time it took to farm all those fucking additional item corpses. Or if we're talking about, what was the league before? Talking about Affliction. Luckily, Affliction had a lot of its power at a more baseline level, although getting the super good charms is a bit of a pain in the ass. But that system worked at more of a base level. If you start to go back further and further, Sanctum is another fantastic example, actually, of a system that really put the cool stuff behind Unobtainium because you had to run Sanctum yourself or through some weird stuff with Cloak of Time, Eiley, and a party to get the Sanctified Relic you wanted. You probably saw the Strafe Stackers that had the Alberon's Warpath plus the Strafe Stacking Weapon plus the Sanctified Relic all combined with the original Sin. And you were like, damn, I would love to try that. Too bad you don't have the Relic, broke boy. And it's not even because you're broke, it's because you didn't like running Sanctum. Is what it is. Cope, Seed, maybe even Mauled perhaps. That's the problem. Putting cool things into the game and then making it so that people can't get their hands on it is not it. Now, I didn't just get up here to rant at y'all for 10-15 minutes. I could do that. I could just rant only, but I want to posit like a thought, a solution, like something that I've experienced that has given me insight into how you can actually get around having this type of problem be a thing in the first place. One, I think you could actually just reevaluate where the hell the limitations are put. Like, I think it's really strange that they chose to limit this to rares only instead of uniques only, because I think uniques are more in need of this power level spike than the rares are in the case of weapons, with very few exceptions existing. Rare weapons are like by and large outclassing unique weapons. That's one thought. But two is to borrow a system from a game that I've played on Torchlight Infinite. Ignore the Eastern monetization for a second and the mobile UI and all that. And there's a lot of systems in there that I think PoE could learn from. The number one of which in this particular example is the idea they have this thing called prototypes over there, which is items at partial power. Like, all right, let's thought experiment, right? Original Ashes of the Stars, the one with reservation efficiency and everything. That item was turbo insane, right? In fact, we would love to have that version of Ashes still in the game. Now, what if that version of Ashes still existed in the slot of the current Ashes that's currently dropping? Hear me out. Whoa. I'm not saying just unbuff it, right? Or unnerf it. What I'm saying is, what if current Ashes was a fairly common drop as a result? That way, the unique effect on the item, the thing that actually matters on Ashes, 30% quality for your skill gems, is accessible. You can do things with it, right? You can play Holy Relic of Conviction with it. You can play, what's another example of a character that really needs that quality? There's a lot of examples that really need that quality, right? Like like the Poison Conversion Spark from back in the day with the alt quality, right? Like things that actually need that quality can get that quality. And then the extra version of it comes with the reservation efficiency. Or, maybe the item just comes out outright with less damage on it in exchange for this really cool function, right? Like, imagine Rallycaches. This is not an extreme enough example, but like maybe it's Rallycaches and Impatience and then nerf Rallycaches and Impatience. And so where am I getting at with this is the idea that the rune crafts could just have tiers to them, like our standard crafting bench tiers. For some reason, all the really cool things are just one-offs. Like, why is there not just like a 3 power rune option that says like Vol skills have 100% reduced soul gain prevention, 40% less damage for Vol skills? I don't know. I'm not here to design out the perfection of the idea. It's just more to say, make it so that there's a way to actually access and progress through the idea. Haunted by Tormented Spirits, buffs from Tormented Spirits only have 50% reduced effect or something like that. Far shot, but you do 25% less projectile damage, something like that, right? Some sort of penalty that exposes you for doing it early, but it gives you the functional identity piece. I think that might still, in fact, be an upgrade for your character. Still might be really meaningful or really cool for you to play around with without taxing you so egregiously. That way you actually get to do the cool thing, and it is what it is. A good example of this before I move and be done with the whole point is cluster jewels are a really good example of this, both in the rare and the unique sense. Rares, ideally you have 8 passive large, 4 to 5 passive medium, 2 or 3 small, depending on what you're doing, right? But then you can do things like, a 9 passive large, if you really need Warlord off of that staff cluster, is good enough. You know what I mean? It's good enough. If you're doing small passive scaling stuff on a rare cluster, ideally it's 12 passive 84. Maybe you settle for 12 passive 83. Maybe you settle for 11 passive 84, right? You settle somewhere and you can progress through it. You go, okay, now that I've done the little thing here, we go up a step, right? We have that. Or in the case of uniques, I mentioned uniques because of the way that voices is, right? 7 passive voices is pretty fucking common compared to the others. And then you get a 5, you're like, ooh. And then you just a 3, you're like, ooh. And then there's 1, you're like, ah, right? And you get to go up in tiers in terms of how strong the character gets relative to that item. That's the idea that I want in play for systems like this. Because the rune crafting is too damn cool to not be able to have your hands on. And that wraps up my point, right? I just think that it's absurd that the cool thing in the league is just so out of reach for people. I would rather GDG just let the game be fucking broken as hell for a league. Have everybody running around with ridiculous. We did that last league already, right? Like, at least this time they still have to at least craft the actual item. It's not like they just bypass the entirety of the crafting system as a result of this change. Like, it would have just been, hey, the cool like build scaling option we added to the game. Yeah, we actually made it a thing you could do. Anyway, I told myself I'd be done getting fired up, and then I almost got myself fired back up again. This is the thing that's really bothered me for a long time about the game just as a whole, but it really has come to a head this league, and I felt the need to talk about it. Again, you fuck with the video, you agree, disagree, whatever it may be, like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, support the video, support the channel, all that stuff. Thank you guys so much for the support. If you want to hear me rant about these things more, I do have a Twitch. It's in the description. You can also come catch me in my Discord. That's also in the description. When I'm streaming, it's usually in the evenings. Not the most consistent of schedules. You'll see what I mean when you get there. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.